Welcome into Ash Talk, everybody. Thank you guys so much for joining us once again. It is great to be back and with you. A little bit of a hiatus last week. I was out of town on a work trip, so we weren't able to record. But we are back. We are here. We are smoking cigars, and it is perfect timing because there is so much sports to get to you today. A lot of the top stories. We're going to talk about Travis Hunter winning the Heisman. We're going to have our thoughts on Bill Belichick leaving the NFL officially and going to UNC. We're also going to be talking about the college football playoff this weekend, along with the NFL games coming up as well. So all that's coming up for you. We'll have your take it to the banks. Those are our predictions for the weekend and our locks for the weekend. And we are also going to have Pigskin Prognosis, where I make my picks on the 5 NFL games coming up this weekend against the spread. But first, as always, Hayden, what are you smoking today?
I'm smoking the Gerta.
I can't. Just
cut the 12 to cut the show. All right. It's a Gurkha. It's a rare reserve, aged 12 years from the Premium Tobacco and Merchants Company. So I've had one of these before. It's certainly a higher end Gurkha. Definitely a mild smoke. So far, so good. I actually really love the packaging. It kind of reminds me of or the wrapper. It kind of reminds me of like a champagne wrap.
okay.
Something like that.
Lighter.
Feels like a little more aesthetically. It's pleasing. So
It looked really fancy.
it
I gotta be honest.
certainly looks fancy, and I'll make sure that I show you a picture. You might have already seen it because I uploaded it and edited this video already by the time you've seen it. But it's a fancy schmancy looking cigar, but I think you're still only going to spend about 13, 14 bucks on it.
Okay.
So certainly already, I've already smoked this before. It's a great cigar.
I haven't smoked it on the show though. So
Not on the show. I've smoked every other Gurkha that's ever been created.
Yep.
But not this one yet. So
You're gonna be coming out and smoking Gurkhas that haven't even been released.
I know. Sponsor me, man. I've rolled out your whole release.
You know what?
I mean,
I'm due for to buy some more cigars. I'm just gonna trade with you. Because you know what? We can have Gurkhas on the show, but I should probably be.
you to be the one that starts reviewing them. Probably not a bad deal.
I got a San Cristobal Revelation, and this
Never go wrong.
Never go wrong. Smoked it many times. I would say this is one of the cigars that I've smoked quite a bit.
You smoked one on the show, actually.
Did I?
Yeah.
I don't think I have.
Yeah, it was like the second week.
I think I smoked a Quintessence.
Oh, no, it's Revelation. We can go back. We'll review. I want you to go back, audience, and review all of our episodes in the beginning, and you'll see that me, Hayden, am right. And I'm sure you've already started to catch on, like, as one of the hosts. You want to probably listen more to me outside of him, especially when it comes to his pigskin.
That's fine. I kind of just, that's fine. I kind of just bloviate anyway, but.
So go ahead and talk about your Revelation again. We talked about
it's in the San Cristobal. I get it in I think it's like the Bellicoso. So this is a bigger cigar, which is needed because it's a big show today. We got a lot to get to. Smoked it many times. Love the cigar. Great quality cigar from San Cristobal.
actually one of my favorite cigars.
Yeah. You actually like it more than I do.
Yeah.
But I'm glad to smoke it and share my thoughts later on in the show. But let's talk about some sports because right now, looking at the college football playoff as we get into the playoff coming up this weekend.
Yep.
Looking back, I kind of went Rage Against the Machine on Alabama last week, and the committee, you know what? I think they were listening because they did not let Alabama in. They put Clemson in, and they left SMU in. I think they did the right thing. We'll still get Alabama and Michigan, but I think the playoff committee got it right. Could you have taken somebody out and maybe put Miami in? Or I think that would have been fine, but Alabama is out, as they should be. And all the people that are saying, well, SMU shouldn't be in, Alabama would beat them 9 out of 10 times. Yeah, well, Alabama lost to Oklahoma and Vanderbilt. So those are teams that you would have probably said that they would have won 9 out of 10 times too, and they didn't.
The only reason why Clemson's even in is because Bama lost to Georgia. I'm going to tell you that right now. Bama is a better team. They have a better record. The same record, better wins. They beat Georgia. So only reason why Clemson is in is because they won the ACC.
Yeah.
They don't deserve to be in it. They're not that good. Alabama certainly deserves to be in over them. They have a more impressive winning record. They didn't win the SEC title, so I get it. But I will say that Clemson does not deserve to be in there. One of the worst 3-loss teams in the country. I've watched a lot of Clemson. So I am going to share that. I'm not going to say I like the idea of Bama being in. I think it's hard for a 3-loss team to go in.
Yeah.
I think that we're going to have to, as fans, understand that that's going to be the case moving forward, probably.
But you're not. But the weird thing with Clemson is that they are a 3-loss team. You are correct, but they also have one more win against a top 5 school at the time, which was SMU, and they're the ACC champion. So I mean, you have those 3 things, and it's not like they're
right. But Alabama played Georgia twice.
No, they played them once.
They played them in the
Texas
SEC championship. Oh, Texas! My bad. I'm getting Texas mixed up. I apologize to all you Texas fans out there. Definitely didn't mean to do that.
Don't worry,
Alabama didn't get the dub.
All you need to know is that Alabama lost to Vanderbilt and Oklahoma.
They also
That's all you need to know.
Did they beat Tennessee this year? Did they lose to Tennessee? I think they lost to Tennessee. Tennessee,
yeah,
the whole goalpost thing.
Yeah,
got it.
They lost to Tennessee as well. That was their 3rd loss.
Sorry, scratch like the last minute and a half. Nonetheless, I think Bama's a better team than Clemson.
I wouldn't disagree, but again, they don't deserve to be in.
I would say a 10-2 Miami deserves to be in it.
But I think a lot of people were saying Clemson deserved to be in because they beat SMU, and a lot of the Alabama fans were saying SMU should have been the one that was out, not Clemson, which I thought was kind of interesting.
Yeah.
We'll see. We'll see what happens. I mean, we got some interesting football now because going into this college football weekend, you're going to have the NFL for the first time that I can remember. I don't know if this has actually happened before, but I know they try to avoid each other. But for the first time, I think that I can remember, and probably as long as I've been alive, college football and the NFL are going to go head to head in the same time slots on Saturday, which I think is really interesting.
What do you think about that?
Hopefully you got a lot of TVs.
Yeah.
Which we do.
Right. That's why we do this.
We're covered.
No, that's right.
We're covered. But I'm interested to see what it does for ratings. I think, for me, you're going to get more of an NFL. I mean, the NFL's king. I think you're going to get those teams in their
fan bases.
And that'll boost the ratings there. I think they'll get good ratings, but I think the NFL will dominate.
In the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
You think the NFL is going to dominate the ratings and viewing?
I think you're going to see. I'll say this. I think you could see a lot of peak because the ratings is interesting because they sometimes do what's your peak, right?
Yeah.
So like if Clemson and Texas are going down to the wire, like they might peak at like 25 million
people,
and so they might have more eyeballs at that given time,
right,
than the weekend game with the Steelers and the Ravens because it wasn't a close game. So I think you're going to see, depending on the competitiveness of the games, you could see some similar things. I think the overall average viewer is going to watch the NFL, though. Okay. Especially now that we're in fantasy football playoff time. So a lot of people are playing their playoff games. A lot of people are having their championship games or starting their playoffs in their fantasy league. So that's going to be a major driving force in the this weekend. So let's go through. I want to go through this weekend in college football with these playoff games because I really want to get your take on this.
Okay.
You got some warm weather teams and you got some cold weather teams.
Love it. Fantastic. How it should have always been.
The big one and this is probably my favorite game this weekend, and it's on Friday. Is Indiana going to Notre Dame this Friday night?
Yep.
And Notre Dame's a 7.5-point favorite, so they are favored. But South Bend hosting a playoff game, it's going to be electric.
Two Indiana teams,
rivals,
in-state
rivals. I mean, this is as good as it gets. What are your thoughts?
I'm excited about it. I think there's going to be a lot of points scored.
Really?
From both sides. Both sides have a really good offense. I think I've watched enough of Notre Dame tape to say Notre Dame is definitely more suited. to beat Indiana. I'd like to see them win by about 9, 11. I just don't like Indiana's smug coach. I probably would have respected him a little bit more if he didn't come out and say, "Google me, I win," all of that, especially after you got throttled by the one team that you played this year that was any good.
Yep,
So unfortunately, pride comes before the fall, and so
that is true.
I'm excited to watch it. Just that rivalry, the grit. I mean, it's all on the line right here, right now. And I think, like I've told you a couple of weeks ago, that the dark horse is Notre Dame in all of this. No one's talking about Notre Dame with that Marshall loss on their schedule and all those things, but Notre Dame's a dangerous team, and I do think that they have the talent to make some serious noise and maybe even win.
I think for Indiana, it all comes down to can you protect the quarterback? When
Right.
Indiana played the bigger teams, when they played Ohio State, they could not protect the quarterback.
Yep.
They had some terrible special teams that didn't add to their case, but they were already getting dominated at the line of scrimmage.
Yep.
So for me, it's Indiana. Can you protect the quarterback and generate enough offense to stay with Notre Dame, maybe get a couple turnovers and stay in it?
Yep.
I think they can. I think this is going to be a close game. I see this being like a field goal, one possession type game.
Okay.
I like Notre Dame too. I think they are the better school. You know me, I've been high on the Hoosiers all year this year. I think Notre Dame is a tough matchup in South Bend to go as your first game.
Yep.
They're all going to be tough, granted, but so it's not like Indiana's not used to that atmosphere.
Right. Right.
How much of South Bend is going to be that Hoosier red, though? It'll be interesting to see how much home field there is.
Right. I think we'll be surprised. I'll bet you it'll be almost half.
Yeah,
I mean,
that would be
first time in
crazy.
Indiana history.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
that would be crazy.
All the noise that Indiana's made.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? There's no way that those fans are not going to show up.
Yep. But I think we both like Notre Dame in this one.
Yeah, you do. I think it would be cool.
We wouldn't be shocked though.
No, and honestly, like, there's a part of me that's like, hey, that's Big Ten.
Yeah.
You know, they go in and get the dub. Like, hey, wait a minute. You know, great for them. Great for the Big Ten. So it'd be cool to see 3 Big Ten teams advance, if you will. So yeah, anyway, I'm excited about it too. It'd be a good one.
Saturday, you're going to have SMU traveling to Penn State. We talked about warm weather teams traveling to cold weather teams. Penn State is an 8.5-point favorite.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Man, I think that's a bold move. It's a bold.
That's a lot of points.
A lot of
for a
points.
team like SMU.
You know, and
That took Clemson down to the wire. I mean, they lost by 3. Clemson was pretty much in control of that game the whole time. So
but SMU
Right.
came back. So we
Right.
saw kind of a shell-shocked SMU
Mhm.
for the first half or so, and then they came back, they made some adjustments, and now we're like, "Holy smokes, maybe this team is for real." So I definitely don't like the 8.5 points. I think that's a gamble. I think SMU is gonna be an interesting. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't have a dog in this fight. I would normally have said if they played like they did against Clemson in the first half, I would have said Penn State by 13.
Yeah.
But watching them come back that second half with those adjustments and then put up some big numbers and kind of slide into being like this team that maybe the college football thought they would be. Holy smokes. I think Penn State wins, but I think it's going to be real close.
I think Penn State dominates this game.
Really?
I think they win by 10 or more, and I'll tell you why. I think their defense is good enough to limit SMU, and if you look at the weather, this SMU team's never played I mean, I think the forecast is probably around 25, 30 degrees. In Pennsylvania, it might be a little bit warmer, but we'll see.
Nonetheless, it's warm.
Nonetheless, you're playing in a cold environment.
How much do you think that really affects?
Oh, I think it's huge. I think it's huge. And I think weather is the great equalizer in football, where if you have a team that's heavily underdog, but they can adjust to the elements, they can keep a game close. And I think Penn State's already the better team across the board. I think SMU still has talent.
Yeah.
But I think Penn State, I think that cold weather wears on SMU, and I think they get beat by 10 plus.
Wow.
I love SMU. I really do. I think if this was like in Indianapolis at Lucas Oil or something like that, I would be very tempted to. I bet you this spread is a heck of a lot closer, and I would be very tempted to take SMU with them on the road in Penn State, at Happy Valley. I like Penn State by 10 plus.
Wow.
Double digits.
I'd be great with that. I think
Just for Big
yeah,
Ten.
just for Big Ten. And I've always we've talked about it a couple times on the show. I love Penn State. I think they're a fun team to watch.
All right, game that I'm probably I don't know about you. You might view differently, but probably the game that I'm the least interested if I had to pick. Clemson going on and taking Texas. Texas at 11.5-point favorites.
Yep.
What do you think here?
Texas.
Yeah.
I think we can just move on. I mean,
I mean, it is Dabo. It is Clemson. You're
not
they're
the same culture.
they're national champion, but I feel like when they won the ACC a couple weeks ago, that was their Super Bowl. That was their
Yeah, that was it. Yeah.
yeah. And I just see Texas.
Texas is pissed.
Yeah,
They lost
Since
twice
they
to
didn't get-
Georgia.
Yep,
They lost the SEC championship.
yes.
They're like, no, it's time. We want Georgia again.
Yeah.
We
Do you
want
think there's any pressure on Texas right now because they were so in the driver's seat
Absolutely.
to have that bye, and then it got scooped up by Georgia in that championship game? You're frustrated. You're waiting for Texas to break through. They're a lot like Penn State, but Texas has more recruiting, more finances, more like just more everything, right? Texas wants to be they should have with the resources they have. They should have the titles of Alabama and Georgia and Ohio State, like those bigger schools, and it's like they're right there and they can't get that national championship. So now they lose the first round bye. Does it go from is there what I'm wondering with Texas is there anger there to go out there and just kick ass, or is it like, oh my gosh, there's pressure because if we lose this, we just squandered an amazing season?
Yeah, I think it's definitely like we're there. Like we want to be and show up as the team that we know we are. That maybe everyone else is like you're just a step below, and you've proven that playing a premier team.
Right.
And so I think that they have everything to prove. I think they got a chip on their shoulder. I think that they're going to come out, and I think they're going to lay it on Clemson, set the tone, and let Georgia know we're coming back.
Yeah.
Ain't no way this is going to happen a third time. You're going to see a totally different team. Angry team.
I think that's part of it too. I think when you lose to Georgia twice like that, a team that you think that you're better than, that you haven't for both times played to your potential.
Yep.
You got to get back to that point. And I think I would tend to lean more towards they're angry, they're ready to go, they're wanting to. I think they're going to be fired up.
Right.
And so I tend to agree with you on that one.
For sure.
And last game, night game.
Yep.
I think this is probably the one you're looking forward to the most. You are so excited. And I want to ask you a question. But Tennessee going to the shoe to play Ohio State. Ohio State 7.5-point favorites. My question is do you want to see Ohio State lose because you hate Ohio State, or do you want to see them win to better represent the Big Ten?
Okay, great question.
Go.
Great question. I want to see him win so we can continue to keep Ryan Day on our schedule and our team. He's the best coach that we have. We're grateful for all the work that he's put in. And
this is your first time tuning in. Hayden is a massive Michigan Wolverine fan. So.
Yes. I will say this. As a Michigan fan, I want to see them win. Not just because Ryan Day is one of the greatest coaches that Michigan's ever had, but because
it's kind of a win-win.
It's a win-win. It's Big Ten. We beat them, so it's so much sweeter to say we beat a premier team like this. I'll say this, and I was talking with some folks like on Instagram. We're kind of talking back and forth. I still believe that Ohio State has the greatest talent in the country. That their $20 million team is in fact what it really is. I think Ohio State beats Tennessee handedly.
Really?
Especially with weather. We talked about weather being an issue. Playing in the shoe. It's a horrible place to play.
Yeah.
Any team that's gonna line up against Ohio State and go into the shoe, there's definitely butterflies in your stomach and fear. There's just no way that there's not.
Yeah, and
it's a dangerous place to play.
I think Ohio State has a little bit of Texas in them, where they have the extreme talent there, and then they lost to Michigan, and now they're in that position.
They are
with Ryan Day,
and they want Oregon.
Yeah, They
know,
they want Oregon, but they wanna make a run, really.
100%. They have
And
to.
would you feel different about Ohio State kind of being okay with whether they win or lose? Would you feel different if they would have beaten Michigan?
I think I would. I think yes, but I would
You would
still
want
say
them to lose if they would have beaten Michigan, but because Michigan won, you're like, hey, if they clown the SEC, I'm okay with that.
right. That's kind of how I feel a
Mm.
little bit. Like I I I really, as a Michigan fan, I enjoy watching Ohio State play. I watch them every week
You do.
because I want to prepare mentally,
You're just a football
spiritually,
fan.
emotionally for the game that we're gonna play. So I'm constantly dissecting and all of that. And so as much as I dislike Ohio State in a big way, I enjoy watching them play. I think their offense is insane. When they are firing on all cylinders, dude,
Yeah.
you cannot beat them.
They're such a
They'll
big
beat
chunk
themselves.
yeah, and they're such a big chunk offense where it's like if that offense gets going, the defense can't catch its breath,
No.
and the offense can't organize because they're on the it's the defense is just getting gashed, and then the offense has got to match points, and
Yep.
there's all that going on.
Yep. So all that to say, I would still root for Ohio State to win. I
That's
think.
interesting.
Yeah, it's
So
kind of interesting because I do.
you're not rooting
enjoy-
for Tennessee.
I'm not.
You're just hoping for a good game.
Yeah, and I'm rooting for Big Ten too.
Yeah.
Just it's like because all of a sudden because Big Ten was starting to be the hype last year, and everyone's like, yeah, the Big Ten's for real. We're like, yeah, the Big Ten's for real. And now the SEC's all said we're the best. We're the
Well,
best. Big Ten's bunch of
there's-
chumps, whatever. So I love to see SEC schools kind of get humbled.
it's interesting having lived in both areas and seen the SEC and seen the Big Ten. The Big Ten almost like they really protect their teams in their conference. And the SEC is more of their fans are more of a blanket statement, we're the best, but
Right.
don't necessarily want to see their teams do well.
Right, for sure.
Which is the total opposite of the Big Ten.
Yep.
So it's very interesting. I like Ohio State in this one too. I think they're just the better team. This one I feel like will be another close one. I think 7.5 is way too many points. I think Tennessee,
In Ohio,
they've been
in Columbus,
yeah, but Tennessee's been challenged enough to where I think they have overall their teams I think match up pretty well. I think your offense, like you said, their offense is better, but you've seen a Michigan defense that practically just just shut them down,
right?
a few weeks ago, and so it'll be interesting. I
Did
think
you see? Go ahead, finish your thought.
I like Ohio State to win, but I don't like them to cover 7.5.
Okay. Did you see the Tennessee fans like on different sport boards? They're saying that if they win, they're gonna take the goalpost down and carry it down the street and throw it into the river.
I
Imagine
don't think
imagine-
after the whole plant the flag thing that's gonna happen.
I don't think so, but
There's no way.
because
So if
Ohio State reacted in such a way over a flag,
right,
there'll be a royal rumble
Yep.
in the shoe.
Yep.
Fans,
however many security
No
guards
way.
or police officers you have, I would double.
get the batons, get the mace. I don't care what anybody says about that. Get the tasers. If you try to take a goalpost out of the shoe, holy smokes! Then Ohio State would try to put another law in play where
I think the
someone-
Tennessee fans are gonna be so cold they ain't even gonna know what's happening with themselves.
yeah, they'd be trying to get out of their car. Be out of here. Get me out of here. What are you guys doing up there? It's pathetic. Horrible.
I think that, and again, that's why you don't overreact. We talked about this when Michigan wanted to plant the flag, which planting the flag to me, get in the locker room. I don't care. A flag is not that
Let it go.
important to me, especially when I know I'm in the playoff. Like
Right.
I have other things that I have to worry about.
Right.
I need to get ready for the playoff. Screw you and your flag. I'll see you next year. But I look to the future.
Yep.
What's going on in the future? And so now that they've overreacted like that, well, now everybody wants to push your buttons.
Absolutely.
You're like
Hilarious.
you're like the young child in the family that gets poked on a car ride somewhere and they get annoyed and freak out. We want to see you annoyed and freak out, so that's why we keep doing it.
And Coach Ryan Day is like, stop, guys. This is embarrassing. Don't do it. We just took the L. Let it go. Let it go.
But he can't. He doesn't know how to handle it.
No,
That's
he
one of the things I've been very critical about him with is that he doesn't know whether to correct his players in discipline and the correct way to go about things, or to stick by his players and have the attitude of you can't do that. He doesn't know which way to go.
Yeah.
And so he's been just immobilized and neutralized into this shoulder shrugging head coach almost.
Yeah.
And players don't rally around that. Nope. Players don't rally around that. I think if he would have chosen one side or the other, it would have been better. But I think we both like Ohio State. It'll be a fun game. Very fun game.
My take it to the bank is actually
Here we go.
Ohio State beats Tennessee.
Okay.
Ohio State beats Tennessee.
You want to put a point spread on that, or you're just saying blanket?
Ohio State beats Tennessee. That's where I'm gonna park right there. Maybe later on in the week I can think about it a little bit more, but I don't like the spread as well. I don't like those points, but Ohio State beats Tennessee. That's my take it to the bank.
Okay. Very good. Update. You take it to the bank. You are 3-3. You are 500, which I think take it to the bank. For a take it to the bank record, that is very good. Last week you had Penn State beating Oregon. That did not happen. Almost. But you went to 3-3. I had last week in my take it to the bank that Kirk Cousins was going to throw back and throw 3 touchdown
passes. This is where he comes back.
Yep. And
I asked you, is she going to throw any picks? And you said no. No way. He throws 2.
So yeah, I'm 2-4 in my ticket to the banks.
Right.
So, all right. I'll do my ticket to the bank.
Oh shoot! Here we go.
We're recording this on Monday. Right. Vikings play the Bears tonight.
Okay.
TJ Hawkinson scores a touchdown for the Minnesota Vikings in tonight's game. That's my ticket to the bank.
I like it.
He's been back. He hasn't been in the end zone. It's been 4 straight games or 5 straight games since he's been back. He hasn't been in the end zone. They are going to target him tonight. He's going to get into the end zone. You see it on FanDuel. I already bet on it. I put $10 on it. That's how much I believe in TJ Hawkinson getting into the end zone tonight.
Wow.
So TJ Hawkinson will score a touchdown for the Minnesota Vikings. That's my ticket to the bank.
Can I ask a follow-up question?
Yes.
Does Minnesota win tonight?
Okay, here's the thing. And by the time this airs, the game will already be over. So I don't want to spend too much time on it. I want to look more towards the future. But typically, when the Vikings or when any Minnesota sports team controls their own destiny, the very next game, they crap the bed. And it doesn't matter who they're playing against. There's like a 75% chance the Vikings win this game.
Okay.
It's a rivalry game. I feel very uneasy about this game. I always feel uneasy when people are overly confident about the Vikings, and that's what it seems like it is this
Because
week.
you've experienced complete defeat.
Because the Vikings, as it stands right now, and we'll get into Lions-Bills, I want to get your thoughts on that as well.
Yeah.
The Vikings right now control their own destiny, mean if they beat the Bears, they go on the road and they beat the Seahawks, then they beat the Packers and the Lions. They will have the number 1 seed. They will have home field advantage throughout, and they will be set to make a Super Bowl run at a 15-2 team. I worry, and to be honest with you, after that Lions and Bills game, I worry more about the Packers in a couple weeks than I do the Lions.
Yeah.
This game gives me weird vibes. It just gives me weird vibes. And the last time they played was a few weeks ago. And that was a weird, strange game that shouldn't have been gone to overtime. But everything's out in front of the Vikings right now. And so now, how intense are you going to come out and how dominant are you going to play? Because when they played against the Falcons last week, it was a very even game, 21-21, and then they just broke it wide open. And they finished them off. I want to see that again tonight. I want to see the Vikings take control and own it from start to finish. I want to see this be like a 31-10 drubbing.
Do the Vikings win tonight?
Yes, they win tonight.
Okay, I like it.
Getting prepared for that L.
It's hard as saying I want them to win. His head is saying not a chance in hell are they going to win. Right? Just kind of a a constant
You have
battle.
to emotionally prepare.
Absolutely.
You have to emotionally prepare.
As
And
a Michigan
the,
fan, I
the
understand.
Spider-Man, it's the Spider-Man phrase that what's her face says is that expect disappointment and you won't be disappointed.
There you go.
I got my Adam Thielen jersey on. I'm geared up. I'm ready to roll. I picked him last week against the Falcons just to break the trend, and so I got him. I got him winning tonight. I got him winning tonight.
I like it.
So last night too, you had the Lions and the Bills put up 1,000,000,000,000 points, and if you don't know, Hayden's a massive massive Bills fan, and surprisingly, even here in Michigan, you can't stand the Lions.
Yeah.
Give me your feedback on that game last night.
An absolute fun game to watch. I mean, all offense. You know what's funny is
My fantasy team would say otherwise.
Right,
It
yeah,
was so much garbage time
Oh,
crap that I had
sure.
to deal with the Lions. And I don't know if I'm gonna win. I gotta make up some points tonight with Justin Jefferson and stuff. But oh my gosh, what a bunch of garbage! The guy had Jameer Gibbs and Sam Laporta and got like 40 points in less than a quarter. Anyway, I had to get that off my chest.
good.
Anyway,
No, it's good. It's good for
40 points. Nobody could stop anybody.
No.
But Josh Allen was clearly the difference maker, I felt.
Yeah, I mean, Josh Allen definitely put the team on his back for the second straight week. You know, obviously, um, the Lions quarterback, I always miss his name. I don't know why. Jared Goff. I mean, dang near perfect.
Yeah.
As well. So, fun game to watch. If I'm the Lions, if I'm a Lions fan, I'm extremely nervous and uncomfortable now that like 11 of our defensive players are out.
Yep.
I keep talking to Lions fans. We've got grit. We've got grit. I'm like, unfortunately, you're gonna need a lot more than grit to win out now.
Yeah.
The Bills, our Milano suffered an injury. He just came back. Our defense didn't look great either when you're getting 40 points put on you. I know we were kind of in a text thread last night with a couple of buddies. It was an exciting game, unbelievable.
And you were very respectful.
I was very respectful because the other guys in our
No, it wasn't.
in our chat was
You were a jerk.
big time Lions fans, and I'm sure they're not even my friends anymore. I actually, you know, what's funny is I picked the Bills to win by 2 tuds, 2 scores, and they were up by 3 scores a lot of the game.
Yeah.
So I was so close in my pick, but obviously I didn't get it right. But I love to see it. Love to see the Lions lose in Detroit.
The problem with the Lions is that it's not that they're banged up; it's that they're banged up for the rest of the year.
The rest of the year.
That's the
Right.
problem. Is that
Right.
And from what I seen yesterday, the Lions, if those defenses for the Lions or the Bills continue to play like that, neither one of them are going to win the Super Bowl.
Neither
You
one of them are gonna
can't
go
you
to
can't have a defense that bad. It doesn't matter what your offense does.
right.
I mean, I watched the '98 Vikings. I watched the greatest show on turf. The greatest show on turf with the Rams. They should have won 3 Super Bowls if they would have had an actual defense. They only won 1. '98 Vikings didn't even get to the Super Bowl. You can't have an electric offense with just a sieve for a defense.
Oh man.
And you can't. The Lions, unfortunately, are with injuries.
And no disrespect because they got an unbelievable defense when everyone's healthy.
When everyone's healthy, and I think the offense can operate at a high level and put up 40 points like they did last night. There's the Bills or the Lions. The Lions can't go up against Philadelphia or Green Bay for that matter, even though they did a couple weeks ago, and have a defense look that bad.
But here's the one question that I have. Because I think we would both agree that both Buffalo and Detroit, they can both go in and score 40 points. And they've pretty much shown that all year. They're both averaging over 30 points a game.
Yeah.
If they go with these weak defenses against your Detroits, against your Eagles, against these different kinds of teams, is their offense good enough because they're simply going to score more?
No.
So you're saying,
I mean, what was this? What was the stat? Like 8 out of the last 10 Super Bowl winners have had a top 10 defense. I mean, you have to have a top 10 to top 15 defense to really even have a chance. It doesn't matter how many points you score. I like the Bills in that opportunity just because I think they're more healthy than the Lions. But the Lions yesterday showed that it doesn't matter what you do scheme wise. It doesn't matter how much grit you have. If you have guys off the street trying to chase down James Cook and Josh Allen, it ain't gonna work. It's just not. Like you
Right.
have to hope and pray. And it wasn't like I didn't feel that the Bills were doing anything spectacular. I know Josh Allen made some insane plays,
Yeah.
but he does that every week.
Right.
And so I just don't think that the Bills did anything extraordinary on offense. I think they just ran their basic offensive scheme, but the Lions could just not get sideline to sideline and stop anything vertical, and they just took advantage of it.
Right.
On the flip side, if you're the Bills, you gotta lock down. Like you can't just let them. You can't go up 3 touchdowns and then just let them score at will like that.
Unbelievable.
That is terrible.
Yep.
And Sean McDermott, I'm telling you right now, if he doesn't make it to the Super Bowl and doesn't get past Kansas City again, he will be fired.
There's no way he's going to be fired.
He will be fired. You can't mismanage the clock like that 2 weeks in a row. I mean, the timeout that he did with the Rams literally could have pretty much lost him the game immediately. And the way they tried to run down the clock in Detroit territory, throwing on second down, you're an idiot. You're an idiot. Like, I don't know how else to say it, dude. You're up 10 points with a minute to go, and you decide to throw it on second down. You're a moron. Like, 40 seconds is a lot more valuable than you throwing a pass. And I just don't think he understands it. Speaking of terrible coaching decisions, what did you think of Dan Campbell going for an onside kick with 12 minutes to go in the fourth quarter?
I appreciated it given what happened as a result of that. Here's the thing. Dan Campbell's Dan Campbell. He's a risk taker. You got to risk big to win big. And so I respect the grit that he has, but when you're looking at your defense, you're down 3 touchdowns and you're going to go onside kick to try to make something happen. I'll back up. I hate the onside kick rules.
Yeah.
Having to declare and all these things.
You can't overload one side anymore.
You can't do it. It is so stupid how that's set up.
And I think that's why it was a bad call.
Right.
I think the 4th and 1 last week, I liked it. I really liked it because I felt like you were going for the win. You needed a yard. You have the best offensive line in football. Go get that yard.
Yeah.
That's a high percentage play.
Right.
There's only been 1 onside kick recovery in this entire season.
Right.
With 12, you did it with 12 minutes and you were down 10. Like I was driving home from the grocery store. I had to go pick up groceries. I'm driving home. I'm listening to the game. And when they said that on the radio broadcast, I was like, what?
Yeah.
I was like, that can't be right. That can't be right. I was like, I thought there was like 3 minutes left.
Right.
I was like, how long was I in the store?
Right.
And so I felt like the momentum was slowly starting to shift with the Lions, and you took a really low percentage of success play and put it out there with 12 minutes. Hated the rule. I felt like that wasn't a Dan Campbell risk-taking move. That was just a dumb head coaching move.
I'd be curious to hear what the Lions fans think about it because I've talked to a couple today even, and they were saying, it's Dan Campbell. So,
but that's a dumb head coach. Going forward on 4th down, that's his MO. Like, you just know that going in. Doing that, dude, onside kicks are like literally like 0.05% chance it's successful. But you have all the momentum right now. Right. And the crowd's into it. And you totally squash that by taking a really low percentage chance play.
Serious gamble. That's for sure. And I think he was trying to maintain the momentum. I think he was trying to let's sneak one more. Let's just take off.
There's a fine line between Dan Gamble being Dan Gamble and then just being a stupid head coach. And that needle went over.
That was a poor decision. That was a poor risk
on that.
Yeah.
Not a stupid head coach, but a stupid head coaching move.
I was grateful for it.
Well, I'm sure.
Go Bills.
So before we get into the pigskin prognosis, a couple of the big storylines from this week. Bill Belichick Mr. A Million Super Bowls himself has decided to not pursue the NFL, and he is now the new head coach of North Carolina football. I find that very interesting, very shocking to me personally.
Yeah.
What's your overall take on that?
I've kind of got a mixed bag of emotions on it, to be honest with you. I think it makes him look desperate. Um, I think it makes him look like he's bored and he just wants to continue to fight and be in the game and be around and uh maybe continue to raise up coaches.
This isn't a top
Turn
desire.
over. No.
That's
But like
shocking.
but like North Carolina's not a bad market. There's a lot of tradition there, and to all of a sudden in 3 years be a juggernaut ACC team. I mean, the ACC's down. They're not great right now. The recruiting's down across the board in the ACC as well. I think from the good side, I think it's going to do a lot for the recruiting culture.
Mhm.
I think Bill Belichick um, probably doesn't have as much impact on a high school player because they weren't really around in his prime with the Patriots. They probably weren't watching a lot of football. Now their dads are going to have a big piece. Like, you want to play for him. You want to play for him. He's a winner. He's got rings. He's figured it out. Um, so I think he's going to draw some attention, but I don't think it's going to have as high of an impact as maybe some people think. I think it's weird that he has this little nepotistic thing going with his son as a part of the agreement to take over when he leaves. I always think when you get family involved, anything with more than two heads is a monster. So I kind of have some concern there. They don't affect me any because it's the ACC, but I think it'll be interesting. I think it'll be so wild to see him on the sidelines. There's a lot to learn with NIL, with transfer portal, with recruiting. Like, none of this stuff has he been a part of in the
Right.
NFL.
And I think I think personally this is going to be a disaster.
You think so?
I think it's going to be a disaster. I think
Like a reverse Urban Meyer.
I think he showcased that. First of all, I think he's a great head coach. I think he's a great head coach with the talent and the buy-in around him.
Right.
When he has talent and buy-in and superstars around him, he can take them to the promised land. When he was with the Giants, he had Lawrence Taylor. All right. He had one of the greatest linebacker cores ever.
Yep.
Won a couple Super Bowls.
Yep.
Under Bill Parcells. Went to New England. Got Tom Brady. Okay. Then when Tom left, we seen what happened. Tom went and won a Super Bowl. He drafted Mac Jones, and it didn't pan out. Now, the thing that makes me concerned about this move is that UNC got rid of Mac Brown,
Right.
for the reason that they felt like college football had passed him by. Recruiting, the way that kids are brought up now, the way that everything's worked out, transfer portal, all those things, they felt like he was kind of too old, that it's passed him by. Now you're replacing him with a guy that, yes, he has Super Bowl rings, but he's older than Mac Brown or just as old as Mac Brown.
He was what, 70 something?
Something like that. And
Yeah.
so I see this as, number one, Bill Belichick basically snubbing his nose at the NFL. And I don't think that they have the recruiting and I just don't think Bill fits that mold.
You think it'll help the brand?
I think he will help the brand, but I think there's limitations to that because ultimately you have to win on the football field. You have to win on the football field. The difference between Deion Sanders and Bill Belichick is that Deion was able to get Travis Hunter and Shedeur Sanders on that football squad.
Right.
I don't know if Bill's going to have that kind of pull because I don't think he has that actual connection with those younger players like Deion does. And so it'll be interesting to see. I don't like the move, and I don't think it's going to pan out. I could be totally wrong. But if you just look at his last few years in the NFL and what he's doing now, I don't see it as a good fit. I really don't. I could be wrong, but I don't.
Yeah. I don't know. I think
I'm not a big fan of it.
the verdict's out. It's weird. It definitely has this weird feeling.
If you would have told me that was going to be his first choice and where he was going to land, I would have told you were crazy.
Right.
But
It makes sense if it was like Ohio State.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or a big brand.
Yeah.
But who
or
knows?
USC,
USC, yeah.
to revitalize like a once well prominent program. or Texas A&M or something like that to get somebody over the hump with more recruiting and establishment and buy-in.
Yep.
UNC,
It's interesting.
I don't think it's a top 25 job in college football personally.
No.
Staying,
Not a lot of pressure,
staying in
though.
that staying yeah, that's true. Staying in that vein, Travis Hunter wins the Heisman this past week. I felt personally there really wasn't any. I mean, there were other options, other great players, but he was head and shoulders above everybody, and who was the most deserving on winning the Heisman, and so he takes that. And
I think it's tough. I think it's tough, especially while they were there in New York, spending a couple of days, and how he was flaunting his fits and being flashy, being your
look who his head coach is.
right. So being very much like his coach and all of those things. Someone tweeted this yesterday that Travis was the committee's pick, but Genty was the people's pick.
Yeah.
Genty was there wearing and representing his Boise stuff. Genty, which sucks for him, is because he's one player, plays one side of the ball.
Yep.
And in his statistics blow Travis Hunter's away.
Yeah.
Completely blown
As
away.
far as his body of work at his
Body of work at his position,
Yes.
right? But it's hard as a two-way player who's extremely successful and gifted and dominating. Not just I play two ways, I dominate on both sides of the ball.
I'm the lead corner and the lead wide
And the lead-
receiver. Right.
It's very hard.
That level.
It's very hard. So I like Genty because of what I saw. I just didn't like the flash. I didn't like the look at me.
It's
swagger.
Yeah.
I don't like that much. But Travis would have had my vote.
Yeah.
As the best player.
Yeah.
As a running back, you put up, and that sucks. It sucks that he's
It
going
sucks
against
because
this guy.
Genty has it wasn't like one splash season
Right.
for him. I mean, he's been dominating at Boise.
Yep.
I want to see them do well in the college football playoff. If I'm an NFL team, though, I don't know how you pass on Travis Hunter going number one. He's just so dynamic. He could be, again, you never know how college players are going to pan out.
Right.
But he could be the Shohei Ohtani of football.
Do you think, though, him
exactly.
playing those two positions will actually hurt his stock for a team to say, receiver, DB?
I think they will put him, when he goes to the NFL, I think they will put him more on one side of the ball. And I think they will I just don't think at that level in the NFL you can have somebody have that much stamina. They're so big, so much bigger, so much faster. They're paid professionals. You're just granted, there's been other people like Troy Brown for the Patriots. He was a receiver in a DB for the Patriots in that I think it was a 2003 Super Bowl run.
Yeah. One of those years.
But again, he was average, right? He was maybe above average in both those positions. Travis, I think, has the ability to be superstar potential at both positions. We'll see how it does. I tell you what, if he goes in as receiver full time, at least he's got an option. You know,
right? That's true.
He's not looking good in camp. He's not getting the offense or something.
Yep.
Let's put him at DB.
Yep.
So I think he was deserving, but I love Genty too.
Yeah.
I think he's a great football player, and I hope he goes first round this year. We'll see.
Yeah.
Some interesting news. Devondre Campbell, linebacker for the 49ers, turns out this past Thursday, was told to go in from Kyle Shanahan to go in and play, and Campbell told the coaching staff he wasn't going to go in and play. Something that we very rarely see. He's been recently came out today that he's been suspended for 3 games. Something that we rarely see. I mean, we've seen Antonio Brown quit on his team a couple of years ago, literally just walk off the field and retire, literally in the middle of a game. We've seen Randy Moss back in 2004 walked off the field There was still like 10 seconds left. There was just one kneel down, but he went to the locker room, before the actual end of the game. What's your take on that? How do you manage a player that's like that? Because Kyle Shanahan has cut, and from the reports that were circling within the 49ers, that they didn't want to release him. And they didn't want to release him because I think he's a good player, number one. Number two, they didn't want to release him because they don't want to reward him for that behavior by getting picked up by somebody else. What do you do in that position? I think the Niners did the right thing in suspending him for 3 games. Hopefully, maybe the organization somehow figures out a way to fine him. I'm sure they'll have to work with the Players Association and stuff like that. But if you're a coach, what do you do?
Firing. Gone.
Release?
Release him. He's out. Yep. I don't want that kind of player on my team. I don't want that attitude, that mindset that coaches can't tell me what to do. Boy, you work for me. You don't tell a boss no.
Right.
You don't tell a boss no at work. They're paying you to do a job, and you say no, I'm not going in. I don't care for your body. I don't care. I don't care.
Right. This is why you're paid millions.
I'm paying you millions of dollars. You do what I tell you to do. I don't want that, because that determines your culture. And if you want a winning culture and you want to keep your team, I mean, Joe Kittle is in there talking about he totally out of line.
Yeah.
His own teammates are coming out saying, "What the heck?"
Right.
I don't want that. I hope we do something about that. That is a huge problem. And as a leader, your job is to protect the culture, protect the program. If I suspend you, what I allow is what will continue. And then he won't be the only one.
Right.
And so, as a leader,
with Anthony Richardson.
see what Anthony Richardson.
He got tired and wanted to just quit.
It's unbelievable to me. It's unbelievable that this attitude is starting, and you're seeing it in the NBA. You're seeing it in all these different spaces now, because, and I understand
Load management.
100%.
Yeah.
And I understand players want to take care of their bodies. They want to risk, not risk getting hurt. But it's like, dude, you signed up for this.
Right.
You're paying for this. You're getting paid millions of dollars. People are paying big money to come watch you play.
Right.
Get in there, listen to your freaking coach, and don't sit there and quit on him and say, no.
Right.
Are you kidding me? If I'm a boss and I'm paying an employee to do a job and he or she turns around and tells me no,
Right.
get out of here.
Right.
No chances. You don't tell me no. That's the culture I'm building.
How is the NFL going to manage this? Because I feel like you're starting to see Joe Burrow with Zach Taylor on the sidelines this past weekend. It's almost like players are starting to get more of a voice, which I think is good. But on the same token, when you're quitting on your team, when you're yelling at your head coach, when there's constant infighting, it's such a terrible look, and I can never take. It's hard for me to take the player's side, because number one, like you said, you're getting paid millions of dollars to do this. It's why I think you're worth getting paid millions of dollars to do this. But when you become insubordinate, it's like, how do you? To me, I agree. For me, it's like, I don't even want that. I don't care how good you are.
Yeah.
I really don't. I don't care how good you are. I want you off my team. Niners ain't making the playoffs anyway.
Right.
So I do not want that cancer in my locker room.
Yep.
And that attitude in my locker room. But on the same token, you got to be willing to do that no matter the player.
Right. Doesn't matter.
No matter the player. And the problem is that if these coaches do it to players that they view so valuable to their football team, they're going to get fired.
Absolutely.
But here's the thing. If you're getting fired anyway, I'm going to go down with my offense in the way you got to learn and you got to adapt. But on the same token, you can't allow something like that to infiltrate your locker room. You just can't. I like what John Lynch is doing, though, in trying to basically punish this player, everything within as much as he can within the rule book without releasing. And I don't know what his contract looks like, but I tell you what, whoever his agent is going to have a tough time getting him top dollar.
Yep.
And so it's interesting to see how these head coaches are going to be able to manage and these front offices manage these player egos.
It's
And I mean, it's
horrible.
Devondre Campbell. It's not like Christian McCaffrey or something like that out there. But I mean, you could see Joe Burrow literally get his head coach fired this week or this year in Zach Taylor.
Yep.
And I love Joe Burrow.
Yep.
Love Joe Burrow. But it's like everybody's trying to take the LeBron route, and I'm the superstar, so I get to dictate.
Yeah.
Look at players like Justin Jefferson.
Yeah.
Everybody was like, "Oh, he's going to leave because Kirk's going to leave, and what are we going to do with Justin Jefferson? You know, no, we got Sam Darnold, great, you know, whatever."
Right.
And it's like, dude, no, I'm going to go out there and ball no matter what,
Right.
and you're going to be thankful you spent all that money.
Absolutely.
That's a man. That's a man with character. That's a role model in my opinion.
Yep. For sure. And I mean, you're seeing it in college football now. Like recruits.
Yeah.
They're talking to potential coaching candidates and weighing in on calls. Bryce Underwood talked to the new OC, Chip Lindsey, from wherever to make sure that they vibed.
Yeah.
To make sure that that was going to be a good hire. Are you kidding me? When did we put this kind of decision making in the hands of players? I understand you want it to be included and keep people involved in the process, but at the end of the day, who's the coach? Who's the president of the school? Who's the president? Who's the owner? Those are the guys you bring the right people around to make those decisions. You don't, the moment you put it in the hands of players, you lose respect and you're going to lose your team.
Yeah.
You're fueling egos.
It's like the Remember the Titans scene when he says attitude reflects leadership.
Sure does.
And what's, for me, the reason I say that about Devondre Campbell, why I wouldn't want him on the squad, but I see what John Lynch is doing, trying to punish him within reason on what he can do. Because you don't want to reward him by just going to going to a player. Chiefs pick him up right off waivers, you know, and it's like, oh great, he's on a Super Bowl team for his bad attitude.
Right.
We've seen that with Travis Kelce last year in the Super Bowl, freaking hip checking his head coach.
Yep.
The egos are just massive, and I will say that football is still ultimately the biggest team sport.
It is.
Even, I would say even more so than soccer.
Right.
Because if you have one position on that field getting blown up, whether it's cornerback, linebacker getting burned, defensive end that's just destroying the quarterback, a receiver that's just taking the top off of defense. If you have one player that can make the difference, but it takes all those other players to make that happen, it's still the ultimate team game.
Right.
And so anytime I see a player thinking themselves above the team, or that, God forbid, he can control the entire team,
Yep.
it's not going to be a good outlook.
No.
It's not going to be, you're not building something.
Right. For sure.
So it'll be interesting to see how they manage that going forward.
Absolutely. Sorry. Little soapbox there for sure. I've got a lot more to say about it, but
you want to get into pigskin prognosis?
Let's do it, baby.
All
What's
right.
that again?
Pigskin prognosis. And by the way, I'm 27-18, went 2-3 2 weeks ago. Again, we didn't pick games last week because I was out of town on a work trip. Pigskin prognosis is where we take the 5 best games, what we feel is the 5 best games of the NFL Sunday, or NFL weekend, I should say, because there's games all weekend this week. And we make the picks against the spread, and then we just recap how I did the previous week. I make the picks, and then I give you an overall score every week to see where I stand. Like I said, I'm 27-18, so I started out super hot. Now I've just kind of tapered off. Kind of going 2-3 or 3-2, but every week. But we'll see what happens this week with the 5 games. Great games coming up this weekend.
Unbelievable. It's going to be such a great week. It's going to be tough to pick. I know. Good luck, buddy. Yeah, I'm not making these picks. They're really interesting matchups, too.
All right, pigskin prognosis.
So here we go. First game out of the 5. We got the Broncos at Chargers, and they're looking for the Broncos at +3.
You know, I'm going to take the Chargers.
Ooh.
I think they beat the Broncos defense is so good.
It's a big pick.
I like the Chargers to cover, but I do want to say something.
Okay, here we go.
Can we stop pretending that Justin Herbert is an elite quarterback?
I know.
Can we stop acting
feels
like he is
so
in the
high.
realm of Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen
Right.
and Patrick Mahomes?
I don't get it.
Can we just stop?
I don't get it.
Like, dude, every time this guy has a challenge, he comes up short.
Yep.
He reminds me of a guy that's playing in Atlanta right now.
Uh-oh.
I just think we need to stop. Until I see him go on a playoff run, stop telling me he's a top 5 or top 8 NFL quarterback.
Absolutely. I totally agree.
Because he shrinks in the big moments.
Yep. 100.
You lost to Trevor Lawrence in the playoffs, bud. Like, let's just. I understand
Dial it
it's a
back,
team
buddy.
game. There's a lot of things going on, but please, let's quit it.
Yeah.
Okay. I still like him in this game. I like him to beat the thorn in my side, Bo Nick.
Hey, they're bad to the bone though this year, man.
That defense is really good.
Look out.
Just so.
Look out, buddy.
Not worried. Not worried. They'll lose first round if they make.
Fingers crossed. All right, here we go. Texans at Chiefs. They have the Chiefs at plus 2.5.
Wow. So Chiefs are home dogs against
Home
Texans.
dogs.
I'd go Texans all day. I'm going to take the Chiefs here. At Arrowhead, you're 13-1. They can afford they can afford to drop a game. Don't know if Patrick Mahomes is gonna play. It's so early in the week. I have no idea. Why does it feel like Patrick Mahomes hurts his ankle every single year? I swear he limps off the field either in the playoffs or close to the end of the season every single year. I'm not doubting that he's not hurt, but it's like, who knows? The way they were talking about it on Red Zone last night, they thought like somebody decapitated his leg or something like that. And it's like, he just rolled his ankle. He'll be fine.
Right. Do you like the points? 2.5?
Yeah. Yeah. That spread could move quite a bit depending on what Patrick does, if he plays or not. So right now at 2.5, I'll take it. Otherwise, I'm dealing with Carson Wentz, but it's still an Arrowhead. Texans are such a hot and cold team. I feel like they play a lot of close games, even in Miami, even against Miami this past week. It's like, the Texans, they're not playing to their potential.
But they're another team that's right there.
Yeah, they're another team that's right there, but I don't
taken a little
think
bit of a
that
dive, but-
coaching is getting the most out of CJ Stroud and where they need to be. It is shocking that the Chiefs are home dogs, but it could be just based on the Patrick Mahomes. I could see this spread moving to like -3 for the Chiefs if Patrick plays, but right now I would take the risk and just go Chiefs plus 2.5.
All right. Good pick. Good pick. I feel like that's gonna be a new thing. I'm gonna steal from Lee.
At least once.
At least.
The big script.
Come on, man.
Prognosis. You have
That's right.
to do your best Lee Corso impersonation.
I should do it because his time is running short. God bless him. We got the Steelers at Ravens, and they're looking at the Ravens -6.5.
Wow. Give me the Steelers. Give me the Steelers. 6.5 for the Ravens. That's a rivalry game. That game is always close. It's high intensity. They didn't play well against the Eagles, granted, and I know the Ravens are at home. But I feel like that's a field goal game. 6.5 is way too many points. Give me the Steelers.
You think the Ravens win?
I do think the Ravens win, but I think the Steelers cover.
Okay.
I could see it being like a 24-20 type game. I like the Ravens to win, but I like the Steelers to cover. Wouldn't be shocked if Russell gets hot and they put up some points after that dud they just had against Philly.
Yikes.
So we'll see. We'll
Okay.
see. But it's a big game. Saturday game.
It'll be a big game. Next, we got the Eagles at the Commanders, which I still hate that name. Let it go. They got the Eagles at +3.5. Yes, bring it back. I'm sorry. I'm not racist or anything, but good Lord, man. Commanders.
Eagles are +3.5.
+3.5 in Washington.
I'm going with my heart here. I'm going to take the Commanders.
Okay.
I like Jaden Daniels. Eagles are so much. The Eagles are the better football team, but 3.5. That's a lot of points. So it's. I'm I'm going with my heart here, taking the Commanders. I really would like to see Philly lose, just to give the Lions and the Vikings a little bit more.
Everyone wants to see them lose right now.
Just to give the
Please.
Vikings and the Lions a little bit more breathing room. But yep, we'll see. But give me the Commanders. So I'm going full what I want to happen, not what I think is going to happen.
All right, here we go. And I think we already talked a little bit. You got the Vikings and the Seahawks.
Yep.
-4.5 for the Vikings.
So I'm going to take the Seahawks.
That's going to be an awesome game.
I'm going to take the Seahawks. They just played a really bad game against Green Bay.
Yep.
Seahawks are at home. Minnesota never plays well in Seattle. Very hostile environment. It's going to be wet. It's going to be tough. Give me the Seahawks. If the Hawks were on the road, if we were at home, I would probably take the Vikes here. But Lumen Field, that's just a tough place to play for the Vikings. It always has been. So I'll take the Seahawks and the points.
Wow.
Yep.
You've heard it here, folks, from your loyal Vikings fan.
Hey, they're probably going to lose to the Bears tonight, and it's none of this is going to matter.
Oh, my gosh. I told him I have a take it to the bank with the Vikings, but I'm gonna hold off a little bit. So look out. Look out for the Vikings.
The Vikings have a chance at the #1 seed. Who would have thought that a week before Christmas?
I did. Told you beginning of the season. Told you. I'm him right now. I'm him in the picks. Let's go. Starting soon.
I gotta take you to a Vikings game,
Dude, it's gonna happen.
You gotta go to a Viking.
I'm gonna buy.
I tell you what. I will say something right here. Right.
Uh-oh, here we go.
If the Vikings host the NFC Championship game, I will take you to that game.
Holy smoke.
I will take you to that game.
Take it to the bank. Write it down.
My Apple Watch will be telling me that I'm having a heart attack the entire game, but I will take you to that game.
That would be sick.
To get there, you go to the NFC Championship game. Me and you, we'll broadcast. We'll broadcast.
It'll be everything.
It'll be, a 4-day bender.
I'll paint my garage purple.
We'll be broadcasting live in Minneapolis.
Oh, dude, it'd be it. It'd be it.
We'll do it. If the Vikings host the NFC Championship game, I'll take you.
Fair enough.
This year.
I like it.
Future years, I don't know.
I like it.
Because I probably won't even be a fan anymore. Actually, I'm addicted to this sadness. So
that's fair. Well, let me do this. Our cameraman, who happens to be my son, is getting all gassed up behind the camera. And I want to ask him, come over here, Wesley. I want to ask you right now, the Vikings are about to play. They're playing the Bears. They're in Minnesota. There's a whiteout going on. Who do you think wins this game?
Vikings.
Vikings? By how many points?
2 touchdowns.
Wow. You've heard it here, folks.
2 touchdowns.
Wesley.
What's the final score, Wes?
14-0.
Wow. Pitching a shutout.
Let me tell you something. If that comes true, I'm quitting.
He's quitting. And Wesley is going to be now the new co-host. And so that'll be cool. You've heard it here, folks. Tell the camera that you like sports.
I like sports.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
By the way, people are going to look back. They're going to see this young man.
That's right.
Wesley McAndrew. Remember that name.
That's right.
Because he's going to be pitching in the MLB soon.
That's right. And he's a good quarterback. So we can talk about that next.
I got my bet on MLB though.
We'll take it though. Yeah, he can. He's got.
Once it's up on FanDuel, I'll put a parlay down.
That's right. That's right. So, anything else? Anything you think might be cool to talk about? No. That's fair.
No. Cigar review.
Oh, 5 out of 5.
5 out of 5.
5 out of 5. Simple as that. And I'm a very pessimistic guy. 5 out of 5 all day long. Great cigar.
Your Gurkha.
I've enjoyed it a lot.
That's great. That's great. San Cristobal Revelation, 4 out of 5. I kind of knew that's what I was going to give it going into it because I smoked it so much. And I would say the first part of it was a little bit bad. Was okay. Middle on, phenomenal cigar. Phenomenal cigar. So yeah, 4 out of 5. You gave your Gurkha 5 out of 5. That's going to do it for us. Any final thoughts?
No, think that's it. Excited about this game. Excited to recap some of this conversation later on this week and see how we did.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's going to do it for us. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Remember to get into your humidor today, go light up, and watch some sports.
That's right. Peace out.